SkyHigh started in 1988. It actually opened, I think it was January or February 1988. And it was George Dimitropoulos and his younger brother. They were both in high school when they opened it. Opened on Douglas Avenue in Racine, Wisconsin. And it was a time when it was late 80s, so skateboarding kind of was on its high point, you know, for that time period. It was kind of like 70s it was popular, and then BMX kind of like overran it for a while through the early 80s, and then by late 80s it kind of like blended and it got, you know, big again. So it was like a good time to open up a shop, and they did, I think they did pretty well being high school kids with a shop. I always say that when I moved to Milwaukee in 1992, and I had been coming up to skate Milwaukee like before that, but living up here, like we kind of would skate all over the city. And I remember the courts at Estabrook Park being there in 1992 and not having, there were no nets, there were no posts. And it was, you know, even back then in 92, I think it was all covered in vines. But I remember like sometimes we would skate from the east side all the way to Silver Spring Drive. There's a security savings bank that has like nice ledges. It's still there. But we would skate all the way from the east side out to that bank and skate those ledges. And sometimes we would cut through Estabrook Park on the, you know, on the drive through there up to Hampton from Capitol. And for some reason, we would just, I don't know why, maybe we found it one time and just checked it out. And I remember skating flat ground in there that one night, but it seems like we skated a little more than that. It had to have been like very early 2000s, like maybe even a little before 2000, I think. Somebody dragged like, I don't know if, I mean, don't quote me on this, but someone dragged either a box or a rail or something in there. And then more things started to collect. And by the time I moved into this location on Howell with SkyHigh, that was 2005. At that time I needed some money and I sold this trailer that I had, and I had a ton of ramps in it, and I would do skate jams at like Cass Street School or at Fritchie, which is now Parkside, but like I sold that trailer, and because I was selling it, I took all the ramps that I had and I put them at Estabrook, all the skate jam obstacles. And at that time, so 2005, I think the mini ramp was there. I mean, I don't know exactly exact dates when things went in, but by the time we approached it with the idea to like maybe do concrete there, which was, I would say 2013 maybe, what happened was there was so much clutter and so much rotted wood and so many falling apart ramps that it was like, it was looking a little bit more like a garbage dump than a skate park. But it was also a paradise because there were vines on all the fences and you couldn't see in, and the kids were in control of it. It was just like drag in whatever you wanted to skate all day long, rearrange stuff however you wanted, build whatever you wanted. But it was just getting to the point where that stuff wasn't gonna last since it was made out of wood. At the time when like Estabrook was at its full glory of like rotten wood, you know, and like, which, I mean, it was still getting skated every single day. There was a group of guys that came to me that said they wanted to talk to the county and see about doing concrete there, and I said, yeah, let's do it. And they formed a nonprofit and they made t-shirts, and they spent like a year, you know, maybe a little under a year trying to like promote the idea of like, let's do concrete, let's do like Burnside projects, but at this tennis court. And the county was kind of thinking, you know, the county considered it, but they said, you know, if you pay for it, if you do it, if you maintain it, and if you insure it. And the insurance was kind of what kind of stalled them, was trying to find out like what would that mean, like how much would that cost to insure that tennis court as a skate park. And they were researching it and trying to figure that out, and at the same time I was pushing, hey, let's just start building. The beer garden went in that summer. And Hans, that owns the beer garden, came over and saw we were starting that little boomerang wall that was fine, and he was kind of like, "Whoa, you guys, like really know what you're doing, and this is really cool." And I left a bunch of lumber for you guys, and we're like, "Well, actually, we're not trying to use lumber anymore." And he's like, "Oh, I'll take it back." And I think because the beer garden didn't have a problem with us doing it, the parks crew liked that we cleaned it up, and because they've watched kids skate it for 10 years, they weren't necessarily concerned about like kids skating in that court at all. So it kind of got this weird pass where no one was really worried about it, and we just continually started adding things to it. Once that boomerang was done, I put out a glass jug taking donations, and within the first week it had like $180 in it, like cash, and it was all from kids going like, "That's for Estabrook," like boom, like here's 10, here's 5, where I've had donation jars for other things that get $1.50 in a year.
So I moved to Milwaukee in 2012 to attend the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design. The first time I had been to Estabrook was in 2008, and I was an 8th grader, and my Aunt Sarah Jane was enrolled at MIAD. My Aunt Sarah Jane, my Uncle Josh, they both lived in the city, and she was going to school, and I was always, because of them, interested in art and skating and stuff like that, and all these creative outlets. They really influenced me a lot into getting into those things. But so I would go visit and stay at Sarah Jane's house. My Uncle Josh was telling me, he's like, "I found out about this skate park. It's in this abandoned tennis court, and it's really cool, and we should go check it out." And he took me there. I think we rode our bikes there, and this was way before the beer garden was there. I want to say in 2008, the first time that I went there, I definitely remember the pole jam being there, because I remember looking at that and I was like, I'd never seen a pole jam before. I went there with my Uncle Josh, and it was pretty, haphazard and rugged looking, and it was relatively empty, as far as people, it was pretty low key. I don't think a lot of people really knew it as a spot. I want to say some of the first obstacles that were built there, and I might not be right about this, but I want to say that some of the first obstacles that were built there was probably that back corner pocket. My first time going to Estabrook, and I remember meeting people there, and I can't remember who they are. I don't remember who they were. Who would have been skating there around then, I don't know. But they asked me to play skate with them. They approached me, a little kid who they probably knew was really nervous and really they decided that it'd be better for them to just approach me and ask if I wanted to play skate. And of course I wanted to. Of course all you want to do at a skate park is feel included and feel like you're contributing something cool, and a part of something. And I never really had that experience before in other skate parks, so that immediately stood out to me as something really special about that place.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I would want to say, for everyone to just pay mind and be respectful, and even if it's not your trash, if you see trash, pick it up, toss it.
Wow, this place is so cool. It's so chill. We can get away with what we want to get away with here, and we can have all the fun we want. But it's also a place that needs to be respected, and it needs to be appreciated, because it necessarily doesn't have to be there all the time. It might not. You know, we've done our best to try and keep it what it is and keep it growing and keep the movement underneath it.
If you see, like, you know, lame shit going down, like if you see someone painting or if you see someone doing something, you know, they're not supposed to be doing there, to like let them know. And it's just like, take care of the place and take care of each other and just be aware, you know.